Hello guys, been waiting to share this info with you guys. I finally got my DNA story from Ancestry.com. I sent it in December 5th and I got the results December 29th, 30th, something like that. But here we go. The cool thing about it is that they, along with the percentages of where you're from, the different countries, they also give you a map, and I will show you that really quick. See the map right there? But if you go online, it's more in detail than that, and you can zoom in and see more information on each little section that is shown. So my ethnicity is 80% African and 20%, about 20% European. So here we go. I'm gonna start from the most and to the least. So I am 34% from Cameroon, Congo, and Southern Bantu peoples. So that's like mid to southern Africa. And then Benin and Togo is 24%. Mali is 13%. So those three are African countries that I was just talking about. And then the next one is 7% from the Ivory Coast, Ghana, and 2% Nigeria. And then the rest is European descent. So I got Ireland and Scotland, that's 9%. And then England, Wales, and Northwestern Europe is 5%. Germanic Europe, which is Germany, is 2%. And France is 1%. Baltic states is 1%. Portugal is 1%. And Native American North to Central to South America is 1%. And then less than 1% from Sweden. So I know I had posted that I had some Native American. After seeing different reviews of Ancestry.com with African American people, I figured I didn't have that much, and I was pretty much right. Although I do have Native American family, 50% of each parent that you have going all the way back, your family line is given, of their DNA is given to you. However, that DNA is random, so whatever they might have, they may or may not pass it down to you. And if you have siblings, which you may have something that they don't have, or they may have something that you don't have. So that's just how DNA works, which is pretty interesting. I do want to go and visit Cameroon. I've already been to, England, and I've already been to France, and of course, I live in America, so there's not too much more to see about as far as the Native American part, because I can always go on a reservation and look up the history there. Portugal was a definite shock until I started looking into the history of, I believe it was Mali. I think it was Mali. I can't remember if it was Mali. I think it is Mali though. That is a Portuguese name for shrimp, and the Portuguese like to go there because of the shrimp there. So then that kind of made sense. As far as the French were known to be take occupancy in certain countries in Africa during the slavery time. So I did some research. Then the 1% France wasn't a surprise. Also, the Ireland and Scotland, the 9% of that wasn't a surprise either, because my grandfather had told me that his grandfather looked like a white man, and they believed that he was Irish. So that wasn't a surprise to me. So basically, what I was already expecting is the Native American and the Irish, or the Ireland. But everything else was pretty much a surprise. Like even the 2% German, I'm like, where does that come from? The rest of the African countries was not a surprise, but a surprise in the sense that I didn't know as to what parts I was from in Africa. So that was pretty interesting. So again, and for those people who question that these things are scams, I actually have 2 other cousins who did this, and I didn't know at the time until my results came back, and they didn't know that I was doing it. And they actually showed up as like second cousins of mine, and it's not like I told Ancestry, and Ancestry didn't tell me that they were doing it until the DNA linked us. So that was pretty cool. In fact, I got to give them a call and be like, hey, guess what? And also, it also gives you history as to like the migrations and from from the slave trade. So for me and my DNA, it shows that there's like the South Carolina African Americans and the Virginia and Southern states African Americans. They're basically their destination from like the South, and then they spread kind of southwestern kind of ways, and how they went. And the other cool thing is I also have a cousin in the Bahamas somewhere, so that's pretty cool. And it also shows that I had to spread into California with some of my family members. The cool thing about it is that I was able to do my family tree also, and find documentation on my father's side, as far as like my grandmother, my grandfather, like their marriage and divorce papers. I was able to find that. That was really cool. And then and stuff like that. And of course I already know that they were family, but it's pretty cool when you can find your family history, documenting it, you know what I mean? And so I called my grandfather the other day, and I told him, I was like, you remember you used to tell me like growing up we always had Irish in us? I was like, it's true. And so he told me that he wants to do a test too, because he said with me doing the test, he said this is the closest that he's ever gotten to like the truth as to what he is, as far as ethnicity. And he said it's pretty interesting, and he wants to find out more. So when he does it, we will be Ancestry won't know, but they will link our DNA together. And so that is really cool. It takes about 4 to 6 weeks, depending on how many people send in their stuff at the time that you have sent in your stuff. So that determines on how long it will take. Like I said, for me it was about a little less than a month, but it was pretty neat. And so they also have it where if the technology is updated and it's more accurate, they'll also update your DNA analysis things. So that's really cool. I appreciate that, because technology is always advancing. So why not advance the information that you're going to put out too? So again, I'll read the percentages to you. 34% Cameroon, Congo, and Southern Bantu. 24% Benin/Congo. No, those 2 countries are right next to each other. Mali is 13%. 9% Ireland and Scottish. And 7% from the Ivory Coast and Ghana. 5% from England, Wales, and Northwest Europe, and 2% German, 2% Nigeria, 1% France, 1% Baltic states, which is like kind of close to like Russia and all that. 1% Portuguese, 1% Native American, and less than 1% Swedish. So, like I said, I plan to visit at least Cameroon. That's where I have the biggest percentage. I do want to go to Ireland and Scotland. I've already been to England and Germany. I definitely want to go to. I've already been to France. Definitely want to go to Portugal, Spain. That will be an interesting thing to see. So those are some places that I want to go to. Thanks for watching, and talk to you later. Peace out.
Change your style, make you